Hey Mallards, it's Monday. Are you tired of movie reviews yet? I certainly hope not, because that's what I'm doing again. Yep, we're just gonna talk about movies I've seen, because the rest of my life has just been me sitting on the computer. Although I am working on several stories, all of which are really fun, so I'm having a great time with that. It's been really nice, very creative, has me feeling real good. Maybe doesn't have earning potential, but money. Who needs that? Everyone to live? Unfortunate. Anyway, we're going to talk about The Wrath of Man. This is a film that Dad and I watched a couple days ago. It is a Jason Statham vehicle, I guess. It's based on a French film that's called, I don't remember the French name, but The Courier maybe, or something like that. Anyway, the whole point is that the French name translated directly to English sounds too close to The Transporter, so they clearly changed it and made it into The Wrath of Man. And I have hesitated to talk about this film a little bit more than the other ones because I didn't really like it. And I tend to really like to use this channel as a place to talk about the things that I really enjoy and be very positive, because overall that's what I am. But I didn't have anything else to talk about today, and I thought that it would be interesting to discuss what it is about this film that I didn't enjoy. Because on the surface, this seems like the kind of film that I would like. It is an action film. It's got heists involved. It has a lot of high octane action scenes, and I do enjoy those films. And I don't necessarily need them to have great plots. I love Hurricane Heist. You know this. You've seen my review of it. Hurricane Heist is a terrible movie and a film I enjoyed so much. But that is not the case with this. I watched the trailer and I was like, yeah, I'm in. This looks like my kind of movie. I love Jason Statham. Like, I think he's a fun action star, and I thought I would really, really enjoy this. And then I just didn't. And the more I've been thinking about it the last few days, the more I think it's that I don't find his character particularly relatable. He plays a character called H, who everything sort of unravels slowly. So one of the things that I did like about the film is that it centers around an armored truck that gets broken into, and 2 guards get killed when this happens. And the opening of the movie is a camera view from inside the truck where you watch this heist happen. So you're like inside the back of the truck and you can see the guy in the passenger seat and you can hear him talking to the driver. And when like the people break in for the heist, you see that, and you see them get out of the car, and then through the front window, you see them get shot. And you hear the conversation with the robbers where they like realize somebody's shooting, and you see them interacting, but your point of view is only from inside the back of the armored vehicle. Then later on, as the movie progresses, you get to see that from the point of view of H, Jason Statham's character, who had like pulled up next to it with his son, and his son gets shot. And you figure out, like, in the film, he's working for the armored truck company, and you realize that he's doing that in order to figure out who pulled that heist and killed his son. And then you get it from the point of view of the thieves who broke in, and you get like their backstory. And I thought that it was interesting that it took this event and sort of gave me 3 threads around it to kind of weave the instigation for this story. And then it builds to that same group doing a full heist on the actual building where the armored vehicles like take all of their money on Black Friday, and Jason Statham essentially like killing them all to get back at them for killing his son. And so that device was interesting, but I did not care enough. I found H too stoic. I think way too stony and therefore unrelatable. I didn't feel any desperation over his kid necessarily. His ex-wife at one point says that he's like a sociopath, and I am inclined to agree with her. And I don't feel myself cheering for him at any point in the film. And then they give me the side of the robbers, and I don't really feel myself cheering for them either, because I thought when that perspective came up, I was like, oh, it's going to be an interesting twist. I'm going to be like, it's a real bummer that the kid died, but, you know, they really needed this. And they've got a little bit of sympathy, but the guy who did the shooting is just a complete jerk. And you don't care about him either. And you're totally ready for Jason Statham to take him out. Like, that'll be fine. And then I feel like the only characters that you really start to care for are when he is working at the armored vehicle company. You start to meet some of the other drivers who run the armored vehicles and start to think, wow, some of these guys are pretty cool. Josh Hartnett plays one of them. And, you know, I love some Josh Hartnett. What a rare gem that I enjoy. And so you get to know these characters, and they're a little more interesting. Not necessarily very fleshed out either, but maybe slightly more sympathetic just because they are the emotional heart of everything. Like, they are the ones who exhibit camaraderie with each other and who have actual personalities. The guys who are doing the heist, they're like a group of military guys, have some personality, but most of their personality is that one of the dudes is an ass. And then the rest of them are there. Pretty much. Like that's what it is. One of the guys is a jerk and the rest of them are there. And then, but then the movie wraps up with literally only Jason Statham surviving. Like, the guys break into the armored vehicle area and they kill everybody that you've come to know over the course of the film as you have, like, been part of this armored vehicle company family. Like, all of those people die. And then all of the guys who broke in also get killed. I think all exclusively by Jason Statham, but maybe by like a couple of other people. But anyway, they all end up dead. And so he's the only one who walks away from it, but there's no sense of anything. Like, there's a little bit at the very last moment, I think, where, like, there's a little bit at the very last moment where the one guy who was doing the heist, who ended up getting away with the money, gets tracked down, and H kills him and has a talk about, like, makes him read his son's autopsy report and then fires bullets into him exactly the same way they were fired into his son, except from the front, and his son was shot in the back. And that moment is supposed to be like poetic justice, but man, it got to that and I was like, oh good, this will mean the movie's over, right? Because I just didn't care. I didn't relate to H enough to actually want him to get his revenge, except that I did want that real jerk of a guy to die. And it was unfortunate that that's how that film ended up. But, so I can't necessarily recommend it. If you've seen The Wrath of Man and you really enjoyed it, I would love to hear from you. Because I'm curious what I missed. Maybe you found something in it relatable that I didn't. But there are definitely ways to make that more fun. Like, there absolutely could have been. So the group of soldiers who did the heist could have been more interesting. There could have been a turn for one of them when they realized that this guy was a jerk. And they could have changed their minds. Or they could have been hard on him about killing the guards and the kid, and they never really were. Or some of the people from the armored vehicle company, like, could have survived. could have had their moment where they survived the heist and like it reinvigorates them after the loss they suffered with those 2 guards getting shot, because there's like a clear low morale that's part of that. And also I could have taken more from H, like a little bit more anguish about his son instead of just this constant emotionless reel of him like tracking down all of the people who could have possibly done that heist with his goonies that we also don't really get a chance to understand. There's like one emotional scene in a car where one of his goons is like, listen, dude, this isn't working and you need to try something different. And that's when he decides to like go and work for the armored vehicle company. But even they, who seem very, very close to him, don't have any sort of emotional attachment at all. Like, it's just a movie made by emotionless robots who then kill each other. The only emotion in this whole film is Josh Hartnett, and they kill him. So, yeah, that's how I felt. Emotionless robots do murder. That's what I would call this film. Let me know if you've seen it, and I'll see you tomorrow.